Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Tuesday, December 30th, 2014, around 3:20 p.m. in Berwick, Massachusetts. It's a nice sunny day, but cold. But there's no wind, so that's a good thing. It's only about 27 degrees, 10 degrees below normal. But, you know, it's winter. We have to deal with it. Some news to report. It's Happy National Bacon Day, so everybody loves to eat bacon, especially BLTs. And also 51 years ago today, the classic TV game show Let's Make a Deal, hosted by Monty Hall, made its debut on the NBC television network. And Let's Make a Deal's been one of those classic game shows that always gets revived and revived and revived. And currently it's on its 6th season on CBS, hosted by Wayne Brady. And that's about it on that. My next subject is about a movie review. That this movie came out in 2001, and it was a comedy called Shallow Hal, and it was directed by the Farley brothers, Peter and Bobby Farley, who's produced some of the most classic and most funniest comedy movies of all time, like Dumb and Dumber, There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself and Irene, Kingpin, Say It Ain't So, The Three Stooges movie, and Dumber 2, among others. And they made this movie about Shallow Hal, about a guy named Hal who was fixations about seeing the inner beauty of women, even though many of the women he were obese or grotesque looking and stuff like that. The movie starred Jack Black as Hal Larson, and it starred Jason Alexander as Mauricio Wilson, Hal Larson's best friend, and Gwyneth Paltrow as Rosemary Shannon, who was like very funny in this movie. The premises of Shallow Hal starts when Shallow Hal's about 9 years old, and he sees his father dying of a heart attack or something, and his father says, "Get a classic beauty," and he said a different name of his mother. And then the movie starts with Hal Larson in a nightclub going after pretty women, but they did not want to associate with him for one reason or another. And Mauricio has the same problem. But Hal has kind of a girlfriend named Jill, and he wants to go out for a drink with her, but you know, she didn't want to go out for a drink, saying, "We only had this one date," and he was mad. And when you get a promotion, you're not going to have time for me. So they just break off after one date. And then when Hal thinks he's going to get the promotion, he doesn't. And then he gets a little mad about that. His co-workers tries to cheer him up and stuff like that, but he had no avail. But a twist of fate happened. While he was at work, he bumps into the self-guru of motivation, Tony Robbins, and they share an elevator together. And when the elevator breaks down, they're stuck in an elevator for a long time, and Hal tells Tony his lady's problems and stuff, that he's like fixation with pretty women and stuff like that. And Tony makes him a promise. He hypnosis Hal, saying that the only like way you're gonna see girls with a different view, saying the inner beauty of them. And that's about it. Once the elevator's fixed, Hal goes to a taxi cab, and he bumps into a pretty woman named Katrina, who's actually ugly to the rest of the world, but she's pretty to Hal, and they share a cab ride. And then Hal tries to get her phone number, and he does. And she was shocked. She was absolutely shocked what happened, because she was a gross woman to the rest of the world, but pretty to Hal. And then Hal tells Mauricio, and they meet up at another nightclub, and they said he tells him about he's met Tony Robbins and stuff like that, and like Mauricio says it could be coincidence or luck, but Hal says this is no luck, and then he had to go to the can and stuff, and they see his friend Walter, who has spina bifida. Mauricio doesn't like him that much because Hal has a condition and gets all the attention and stuff like that. And also, he and Walter gets all the girls as well. And then Hal sees a pretty lady named Bella, and they go out and have a dance. And Bella brings with her 2 other women who were so perfect for him, perfect 10s to Hal. But Mauricio and the rest of them will see these women as grotesque and obese and stuff like that, and like Mauricio tries to save Hal from disaster, but he's going back in anyway. And then Jill shows up, and Hal, Mauricio, and Jill looking stunned. And then the next day, Hal sees his dream woman, who's a beautiful blonde with nice legs, named Rosemary Shannon. But to the rest of the world, she's 300 pounds, morally obese. And, they meet at a lingerie place and stuff like that. And then they hit it off. And then soon they become boyfriend and girlfriend. And it's an amazing story. And, like, Hal treats Rosemary Shannon with respect and stuff. And also, like, he gets mad at the people who call her fat and ugly. But she doesn't really like him saying that to her, because she was really fat and ugly to the rest of the world, but Hal didn't see that way. And also they develop a great relationship. And then when Rosemary introduces Hal to her parents, one is both of, like, her father's the president of the company he works for, and then he tells them the plans about company stuff and how they're going to do Rosemary and stuff like that. But Mr. Shanahan, Steve Shanahan, says he has not bounced his daughter on his knee since she was 2. She wouldn't be twirling with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and stuff like that. And then soon Hal gets a promotion and stuff, and Mauricio is still a little jealous about that. He's still mad because it's causing irreparable damage to Hal's life. Furniture's being destroyed and stuff like that. And then Hal tries to track down Tony Robbins, and he does. He says he meets Tony Robbins, saying, "You hypnotized my friend. His life's being ruined. His career's being ruined. These women that he's dating are falling in love with are grotesque. They're bad." And it's all really gonna hit him hard. And then Hal and Rosemary are eating like at a dinner thing, having dinner, and then, like, Rosemary tells Hal that she might be going back to the Peace Corps for a re-up on stuff for an island. And Hal was getting a little mad because part of the Peace Corps, she had her one and only boyfriend and stuff like that. And then the seat that Rosemary was sitting in breaks again, and Hal gets mad. He tells the manager, the hostess, but then his cell phone rings. It's Mauricio, and Mauricio says, Hal wants a gal. That means he broke the hostess, and the hostess, who was like a lady, when Hal turns up, it's actually a guy dressed as a woman. That's funny. And then, where's the pretty hostess? He gets mad. Where's the pretty hostess? There, I'm the pretty hostess. And he says, the meal's on us. And then when he sees Rosemary, he sees the real Rosemary, not some pretty blonde who has nice legs in the world and a great smile. He sees he looks like a grotesque 300-pound woman. And then as he's about to like go to the table again, Mauricio saves the day and says, "I've saved you, buddy. You were in love with the inner beauty with them, not the real thing." And then Katrina shows up, and she says she's the real one who was like grotesque looking. And then, why didn't you call me for? And he says, oh, Katrina. And she hugs him. And then Hal gets mad at Mauricio. Mauricio says, I just saved your life and stuff like that. And this is, who was your first true love? Wonder Woman, as Linda Carter. And and he says, pretty girls are not nice to us as a word. And then Rosemary comes and says, why did you leave the restaurant? And he says, I have contagious conjunctivitis. And then Hal had to put Vaseline on it to avoid seeing the real Rosemary. And Rosemary says, oh, poor baby, you were acting cuckoo on that, and stuff like that. And then that goes on, and then Hal is confronted by Steve, Rosemary's father, and stuff, saying, is anything going wrong with you and Rosemary? No, they're not, but she's saying they've been acting a little weird lately and stuff like that. And then he and Rosemary in a funk, and he wants to try to get back. But then one night, there's a fateful night that Jill, who dated Hal for one night only, their neighbors across the apartment, and then she says friends bailed out on her, and she wanted to take him out to dinner. And they go out to dinner with a Capitol restaurant, the Capitol Grill, and then they're having dinner, but Rosemary's with her parents, and then they go sit down, and she had to use the bathroom, but she sees Hal with another girl, Jill, and Jill was saying that I made a mistake. She was saying, I thought you were shallow and unshallow. And then she says, the woman you've been dating, looks doesn't matter. And then Hal was defending himself, says he wanted to take a different road. He didn't want to with that pretty woman who was Jill. He wanted to go back to Rosemary, who's 300 pounds. Not the dream girl he thought it was. And then Rosemary comes out of the bathroom crying, and then Hal walks by, and she says hi, and he says hi. He doesn't know that's Rosemary, and Rosemary crying, and Hal calls Rosemary on a cell phone on the payphone. Where was his cell phone? Maybe he lost it. And he says, I love you, love bunny, I miss you. And then Rosemary says, what are you, some kind of psycho? She cries, and then Steve Shannon a couple of days later says, just leave me daughter alone, the jig is up. And then he notifies Hal that she's got the Peace Corps and she's going to do 14 months. And then Hal was down on his luck, and then Mauricio told him a secret, that he had something, that he had a tail on the spine of his back, and he says no doctor would touch it. And then he wants to join the Peace Corps, and he does. And then and Rosemary is having a going away party at a house, and Hal goes to her house, and he acts a little wild, like kissing the maid who was 300 pounds. And Rosemary Shannon's mother says, are you drunk, Hal? And then I said, I want to see Rosemary. And he does. And he sees Rosemary. Rosemary was a little mad at first. You have no right to be here. And he says, oh my God, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And she says, you really hurt me. You really hurt me. I'm sorry. And I want to be with you the rest of your life. Your time. And Rosemary says, your time is so terrible. I'm leaving for my Peace Corps mission. And I'm not. And Hal says, I'm not going with you. I'm going with you. And she was happy. And then everybody cheers. And then Hal tries to carry Rosemary, but she couldn't. He couldn't. So Rosemary carried Hal, and everybody was happy. And that's how the movie ended. It's a very funny movie. Came out 13 years ago. I thought it was one of the most funniest movies of the year in 2001, and it showed like gwyneth paltrow, who was a serious actress, to do some comedy. For her playing Rosemary Shannon on the obese scene that she's 300 pounds, she had to wear a fat suit. I thought Jack Black was funny in this. I thought Jason Alexander was so funny as this as well, and it's a great movie. That Shallow Hal was the first DVD I bought ever back in 2002, and it's a great movie. I recommend it, and it's 2 thumbs up, and the Farley brothers make very funny movies. Some of it's, some of it's weird and stuff, but all of it's funny in my opinion. And that's about it on Shallow Hal. I'll be back later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, with my third and final video blog of the night, which will be about rugged Ronnie Garvin, former professional wrestler and French-Canadian descent. And don't forget, Facebook's friends and YouTube followers, coming in 13 more days to these video blogs. It's time the Rumble. It's time for the Royal Rumble. I'm going to review the first 13 Royal Rumbles from 1988 to 2000 for the WWE. The Royal Rumble is the most anticipated pay-per-view in WWE next to WrestleMania. See you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. See you in the night.